We back now.
Welcome back, everybody, to Cinema Daily US. I'm Matthew Schuckman.
And I'm Adriano Ercolani.
And today we are talking about Ryan Coogler's Sinners, his new film, which I don't want to go through a huge description of the film because we have a lot to talk about, but it is his take on vampires with, of course, a very social message. And I think we'll leave it at that. But Michael B. Jordan plays twin brothers Smoke and Stack, who are opening up a brand new juke joint nightclub in, was it 1932 or 1936? I think it was 1932.
I think it was something between. I think it was 1934. I guess.
Right in between. And the kind of horrors that go around that, and that's just a very generic version of it. What are your thoughts on the film?
I actually enjoyed it. I think it's a very fun movie because, as you say, it takes on the vampire genre with a very classical take. We already seen this kind of something like from Dusk Till Dawn. That kind of story of people inside the place that they can't escape because they're surrounded by vampires. It is a lot of fun. It lasts almost 2 hours and 20 minutes, which I think they're maybe a little too much. I think if we would stay on the 2 hours, especially in the first part, cutting a little bit would have been better. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I don't care if movies are long as long as they move well.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I want to preface this very strongly because people think a lot of times when I talk, it means I don't like something. Because I think a lot of the reviews that came out before we saw it too, people are calling this like revolutionary, and I actually was technically disappointed. I think it's a good movie, and I think as far as messaging goes and the allegory for cultural appropriation and or the simplest term, I've all of a sudden forgotten the word, very simple term I'm thinking of, but this idea of just trying to shared memory because they are sucking in everybody's culture, so that it works that way. I did find it funny though that when your big bad vampire bites two people, and then they decide, I guess technically, if you're first watching it, they decided to spend a few hours coming up with a choreographed musical routine before showing up to do all this damage.
Yeah.
And there's like that past, present, future scene, which looks beautiful and is very well done, but in the same breath is kind of silly to me.
It is.
And I get, but again, working as an allegory, fantastic, but in parts as a story itself felt strange and misguided.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work completely to me. I think in the last couple of movies, in the last two movies, I think Ryan Coogler is showing that he can't balance too much the entertainment side of his movies with the, as you say, the allegory and the social commentary. It worked to me pretty well in the first Black Panther. It didn't work. It didn't work that well in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And here, I think he's struggling to find the balance, as you said. But the fact that it doesn't take himself and the story too seriously because there are so many comedy, funny inserts. I think that's actually a little better. But there are many scenes in which I was like, okay, this is fun, but it doesn't really fit with the storytelling, and it would have gone faster and maybe would have been more effective.
Yeah, I also thought there was. I mean, I'm trying to say this without giving it away for people who haven't seen it yet, but there's a part at the end. First of all, when it gets to the end and it gets to the big battle, we know what's going to happen, so it's not ruining anything. You had a certain set of characters that you all knew were alive and human in that room. But when the doors open, they start getting attacked. All of a sudden, there were just random other people there to be attacked. I don't know where the hell they came from. And then after a certain character has their fate, two of the bad characters like, quick, run. Why? I don't know why they're running away. They're all winning and they're all attacking, but then they decided to retreat, and I don't know what was going on. It was very confusing in that sense. And then to kind of jump also a little bit to the presentation, it's being promoted about being shot all on IMAX cameras, and I'm used to the fact that doesn't mean that the entire film is shot in the same format. So there's a lot of format switching, and it's actually less jarring in this movie than something like Oppenheimer, let's say. However,
Yes.
I felt that the picture quality flipped back and forth. There were certain scenes that were 10 times grainier than others.
Yeah.
Scenes that in the same scene, different sides of the shots. One was really dim and almost hard to make out what was going on. Not you could make out what was going on, but as
Mhm.
far as the details, and then all of a sudden it was brighter on the other side of it. And it seemed inconsistent in that sense too.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe they had to rush the post-production, the color
Mm.
correction in order to make the movie to get in theaters and the right way in order to make money. Because I'm not sure if this is actually a movie that will make is that appealing as it was the previous Ryan Coogler movies. I'm not sure. I don't know the production budget, but I'm not sure it's gonna make this 150 to 100 million dollars, maybe like Warner Bros is expecting. Jack O'Connell is very, very fun to play the villain. I have a soft spot for Jack O'Connell since that prison movie with Ben Mendelsohn started up. I don't know if you've seen it. That was a great prison movie. And I think Wunmi Mosako, she's definitely showing a lot of charisma. And I think she was the best actor in the
Yeah,
cast.
she had the best accent too. It felt natural.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I also will say, and I don't think this is giving anything away because people know he's in the movie, but because I almost forgot by the end of the movie came is like, and especially in a movie talking about gentrification was the word I was trying to think of earlier.
Yeah.
Gentrification and homogenization and cultural appropriation. Like I felt like maybe me and like I don't know how many handful of people in the theater even know who Buddy Guy is, and the fact he's got Kingfish there with him too. They got all of these great musicians, not classic because Kingfish was kind of built by the internet, but
Mhm.
they got all these musicians that like are mainstays, but I don't think a lot of people even know who they are. They probably just thought they
Yeah,
hired some people, and they're like, oh, there you go. But
I
again,
agree.
it is what it is.
We'll see.
Exactly. We'll have to see. What would you say your letter grade would be?
Oh, my grade, I think it would be probably B minus. Because I had a lot of fun, but I would also see the flaws during watching the movie. And again, the social commentary, you say that sometimes it overgoes the story and the narrative.
I'm gonna go B minus too. I mean, this is more the times that I would probably maybe say C plus instead of B minus. But a lot of people when they hear me say C plus, they think I'm talking about like a 1 star movie. When I'm kind of going like 2.5, almost 3 out of 5 kind of thing. I just wish it was tighter as far as the running time goes for what they were doing here, and I wish it was a little tighter with just not going so overboard with stuff that we already knew.
Mm.
But that being that, I still have like just like you. I had a good time as well. I'm not going to say I didn't.
I agree. But in the end, it was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh,
Thanks
uh,
again, Adriano.
Thank you very much. See you.
See you later, everybody.